Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I'm just going to be going over how to pre-part for medium knotless braids, so let's go ahead and jump right into it. I begin everything with a middle part. It honestly doesn't really matter what the style is. I stand in front of my client, get my middle part using the eyebrows and nose, and then come around the back and go ahead and finish it. It's pretty easy to see once you get to the back where the middle is, like in the back of the neck. But yeah, I just feel like getting that pre-part right in the beginning helps to make everything all even all around. And I section everything as I go. I use rubber bands to kind of like hold the hair in place so that I can see and make sure that everything is nice and even before I move on, because when you don't, then you end up with mistakes. So next, I'm going to section out the bottom from ear to ear. Yeah, it's just pretty self-explanatory. Just take your comb and you want to draw the line as straight as you can to the top of the ear. Sometimes people's ears are not even. So you're going more for like a straight line, but the ear is kind of like your checkpoint. I sometimes mess up on this part, kind of a lot actually, but you know, do it over as many times as you need to until you get it right. It's not something that I would say spend like a ton of time on, but this part is gonna stay, so you do want it to be straight and even. Of course, the thing about pre-parting is we could always go back and clean up or, you know, change whatever we need to. That's the whole point of it, because once you start putting braids in, then it's way harder or almost impossible to go. Well, not impossible, but it would just take you a lot of time and effort to go back and fix any mistakes. So for example, when I got over to the right side and her ears were a little bit uneven, or I might have went too high in the middle, I don't know exactly what I did, but things were not evening out. So I had to go ahead and make everything even on both sides. Easy fix. It's easy to fix now, harder to fix once you start putting braids in. So that is why we pre-part. So from here, we're just drawing a straight line, straight across, careful not to, sometimes it's easy to kind of arch the middle of that line upward. And yes, just be careful to try to make it as straight as you can. If you need to, you can use your comb kind of as a ruler to help you to make sure that everything is straight. But once I get it to where I want it to be, then I go ahead and braid it away so that I can focus on the next section. The next section that I'm parting out goes from ear to ear. So again, I start from the middle and kind of drag my comb down to the top of the ear. Again, her ears are not necessarily even. The ear is kind of a marking place kind of for you to begin at, but ultimately you're focusing on making that line straight. So watch me do it on the left side, and then I'm going to go ahead and do it on the right side as well. Once I get it parted out, I use rubber bands to move it out of the way. Another reason why I suggest using, you know, rubber bands or clips or some type of braid or something to get the hair out of the way, it just helps you see the landscape of the head more evenly, so that if there are any mistakes, you can see them. So when it's too much like hair in the way, and sometimes people's heads are like shaped different, or might be like wider in the middle or things like that, and it might be a little bit harder to notice when you don't do a pre-part. So now I am sectioning out the front half of the right hand side. Same, evening it up with the left hand side and using the ear as kind of my ruler point. And once I get it sectioned out how I want it, then I put a rubber band around it. So this is what we are looking at once we get it into our large sections. Now we're ready for the smaller sections. My camera died when I split the bottom into 3 rows, but it's pretty self-explanatory. Just part it into 3 rows, and then I just braided it away to make it lay flat, and also to help me see the whole line straight across and make sure it's all even. Now to go to the middle section, The goal here is 5 rows, okay? 5 rows. Now, I'm able to move through it pretty quickly because I'm used to it, but sometimes it may take a little bit of practice before you get used to what it's supposed to look like. But the goal here is to part out 5 rows in this middle section. Notice how I started on the outside and then came to the inside to make it even, because the inside of it just was way too big. Okay, so do whatever you know, try different methods. Start from the outside in, inside out. Sometimes I switch them up. I go both ways. But you want to, get in there. I tell beginning braiders, when you're first starting braiding, you want to be practicing. If this is something that you want to do as a career, not just something that you want to do like for fun or for your daughter or something like that. If it's something that you want to do as a career, you should be practicing. You should have a mannequin or a person that you can practice on. You should be practicing about 4 hours a day. A lot of this is just muscle memory and retention. What can you remember that you have already done before? So now I'm going to section out the rest of this left-hand side, and then we'll move on. Now it's time to connect the front. So I take the front section out of the rubber band and I literally just draw a line from the rows that I've already created up through the front section. For me, it works better to pre-part the middle and then the front. I tend to find that when I do the front first, then I somehow make a mistake in the middle. Now, I'm no scientist, so I can't tell you exactly how that ends up happening. It seems like it should work perfectly no matter which way you go. But for me, I found better success with starting in the middle and having that middle part so that I can see anywhere that the middle sections or the rows are too large in the middle, and going through it that way. And also, like I said, I cornrow my sections down or rubber band them or clip them. Really just depends on how I'm feeling that day. Today I'm going to braid it down, but that helps it to lay flat, and then I can see the entire parting of the whole section. So I'm going to go through, connect my front and middle pieces, do the same thing on the right hand side, and then we are almost done with this pre-part. Now we're on to the right side. Keep in mind, we're not using any product at this step. This isn't the place to be using product for. I don't recommend that you use product at this step. There's plenty of time to go back and to clean up the parts and to, make them more clean or neat as you go. This step should move fairly quickly. For the recording time that I have on this video, I think I recorded about 30 minutes or so worth of content, but that's only because I'm like moving the camera around and like trying to get good angles and like deleting things. Pre-parting should not take you much longer than about 10 minutes once you get it down packed. Maybe in the beginning it might take you about maybe around like 20 or 25 minutes, but I promise you it will save you, especially as a beginning braider, it will save you 30, 45, 60 minutes if you commit to learning the process, commit to learning like the shape of most people's heads, what to do if you got a widow's peak, what to do if the hair is extra thick, what to do if the hair is extra thin, what to do if, you know, maybe they got like a bald spot or something like that. It helps you from jumping in and then realizing things like in the middle of the set of braids when you could have just, you know, kind of assessed and analyzed the hair from the very beginning. Is why we pre-part. So this is what it looks like completed. I was joking, telling her like we're gonna just leave it like this and she's not gonna actually have a style. We're just gonna wear it like that. So to go ahead and get started braided, you just take down each row, determine how many braids should be on each row, and go ahead and follow your process from there. I didn't show me doing the first row because my arm kind of blocked the camera a little bit, but here I am doing the second row. So I always take down the row above because it makes it easier for me to clean up my parts, and I always pre-part my rows. I pre-part my rows because my braids need to fall in a window or a brick layer pattern, meaning it needs to fall in between two braids below. So it helps for me to pre-part that out as well so that I can just make sure I got the appropriate amount of braids on each row. Everything's the same size, yada, yada, yada. Same thing I've been saying since the very, very beginning. So you're just going to see me going through and inserting some braids, but that's pretty much it. Be sure to follow, like, comment, subscribe, and drop any suggestions in the comments for other braid tips or styles that you'd like to see.